So the Superman trailer came out officially a few days ago, and it introduced a lot of characters or reintroduced characters that we already know or we may not know. One being the most notable, besides Superman and besides Lois Lane, Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor being the main kind of villain for Superman. So we're gonna go through in this video, kind of talk about him, where he first came from, little things about him, and his motivations, and just so much more to kind of get us ready for Superman when it comes out in theaters in 2025. So we have some time. But let's get into this. So, all right, let's talk about Lex Luthor, one of the most iconic villains in all of comic books and Superman's ultimate rival. If you know anything about Superman, you probably know he's pretty much unbeatable. He's a godlike hero with incredible powers. And then there's Lex. He doesn't have super strength, heat vision, or the ability to fly, but what he does have is a huge brain, an even bigger ego, and a whole lot of money. Lex Luthor officially showed up in Action Comics issue number 23 all the way back in 1940. Here's a fun fact: he originally had red hair. Yeah, in the earliest appearance, Lex had this wild, curly red hair, and it wasn't until later that he became fully, bald. And the bald look was actually an accident. One of the artists got confused and thought Lex was supposed to be hairless, and it just became a thing after that. And honestly, it really worked. The bald evil genius just honestly hits differently. So, who is Lex Luthor? At his core, Lex is a super smart billionaire who's obsessed with being the most powerful man in the world. He's the CEO of Lex Corp, this huge company that pretty much controls everything in Metropolis, from real estate to technology. Lex is one of the richest guys in the DC universe, and he uses his wealth to build weapons, fund secret projects, and most importantly, take down his nemesis, Superman. Now, why does Lex hate Superman so much? That's a huge question. But a lot of it boils down to just jealousy and ego. As we mentioned before, he has a huge ego. See, Lex believes that humanity should rely on him to solve all of the problems, not some alien from another planet. Superman, in Lex's eyes, is a cheat code. He's not from Earth, he didn't earn any of his powers, and yet everybody worships him. That eats at Lex alive because he spent his whole life trying to be the best, building his empire, mastering science, and basically outsmarting everyone around him. But no matter what he does, he just cannot outshine Superman. Lex also argues that Superman is dangerous. He's always saying things like, what if this guy decides to turn on humanity? And Lex sees Superman's powers as a threat, and honestly, that's not completely wrong. If Superman wasn't such a good guy, he could pretty much destroy the world in a couple minutes. But let's be real, Lex's humanity first argument isn't just a cover. Deep down, it's about the power and the control. But on the surface, that's what he claims it to be. Lex wants to be the top dog, and Superman existence makes that quite impossible. But over the years, Lex has taken on a ton of roles. He started out as the classic mad scientist type, inventing crazy gadgets and death rays to fight Superman. Then in the 1980s, DC Comics rebooted him as a slick corporate tycoon. This version of Lex was more grounded. He wasn't just building killer robots, he was also manipulating the economy, bribing politicians, and running Metropolis like his personal kingdom. At one point, he even became the president of the USA. Yeah, President Luthor was a thing, and that really wasn't too good, I can tell you that. But no matter what version of Lex we're talking about, his obsession with Superman never really changes. He tried everything to beat the Man of Steel, using kryptonite, built robots, cloned Superman, and even teamed up with other villains. And I do think we're going to see a clone Superman in the new Superman movie written by James Gunn. One time, he even created a full-on Superman doomsday clock to prove how dangerous Supes could be. But here's the thing: Lex still can't beat him. It's kind of ironic in a way. The smartest guy in the world can't figure out how to take down just one guy, and it just drives him crazy, making him who he is at this point. But another thing, Lex is pretty much a hypocrite. He claims he's fighting for humanity, but he's always doing the shady stuff that puts the people into danger. He'll build death rays to protect Earth from Superman, and then it ends up threatening the whole planet. At the end of the day, Lex Luthor is one of the most complex villains out there. He's not just evil for the sake of being evil. He's got layers. He's a genius, a narcissist, and in some twisted way, the hero in his own mind. That's what makes his rivalry with Superman so interesting. It's not good versus evil and humanity versus perfection. It's ego versus humility and brains versus brawn. So it's interesting, Superman's main nemesis doesn't really have any powers. He's not just a Superman kind of clone where he can do the same things as Superman: fly, heat ray, super strength, all that. He's just a smart guy. But anyway, you let me know, are you excited for Superman when it comes out? What do you hope to see with Nicholas Hoult playing Lex Luthor? We've also had people like Jesse Eisenberg play him in Man of Steel with Henry Cavill and so on. So, I mean, This isn't the first rendition of him, but hopefully it's a good one. It's a much younger looking Lex Luthor. But let me know what you think of this down below.